Hello, and welcome to Lenzie Union Church and the Christmas Experience. I'm Dan Carmichael, and I'm the minister at Lenzie Union Church. Um, what the Christmas Experience is people from the church acting out what Christians believe happened at the very first Christmas. Usually groups from schools are able to come to our building here on Kirkintilloch Road, but of course this year we can't do that. So thank you that we can come to you by video. So what you're going to listen to and watch over the next 25 minutes or so is you're going to meet some of the characters in the first Christmas story: a shepherd, angels, a wise man, an innkeeper, Joseph, and first of all, we're going to Nazareth, where Mary grew up and where she heard that the baby Jesus was going to be born.
And I'd like to welcome you to Nazareth. I just love this place. Nazareth is up in the hills, and I love the views you get over the valley, and I love the people here. This place is my home. This is the house I lived in all my life. That's my best friend's Rachel house over there. We used to play together when we were little. And around that corner, there is my new house. It's where I'm going to stay after I get married. Have you met Joseph? Joseph is going to be my husband, and I'm sure you'll meet him later. And I know you will like him. Our families have known each other for years, and they thought we'd get on really well. Joseph is honest and kind, and I know he will look after me. Our wedding just 2 months away when something extraordinary happened. That's what I really want to tell you about. But I find it hard to explain because it's about God. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always believed that God exists just like the grass in the fields exists. But whenever I thought of God, I thought of God being far away at a distance. I never ever thought God would want to live a kind of life. I never ever thought God's Son would be born as a little baby in our land and in my lifetime. And I never ever thought that I would be that baby's mom. I didn't think about any of that, not until the day 6 weeks ago when I heard the news that has transformed my life. And it was an angel who told me.
I am a messenger. That's what angels do. I pass on messages from God. When God gives me an assignment, the first thing I need to do is listen. I don't talk. God speaks and I listen. I concentrate hard and I listen to everything. I have to get the message exactly right, word for word, nothing added, nothing left out. I'll tell you the exact message God told me to pass on. See how you got on with memorising it. Here it is. Don't be afraid, Mary. God has been gracious to you. You'll become pregnant and give birth to a son, and you will name him Jesus. He will be great, and he'll be called the Son of the Most High God. The Lord God will make him a king, as his ancestor David was. His kingdom will never end. Can you remember all that? I listened carefully to the whole message, and I was so happy. I was smiling from ear to ear. I'd never had such good news to pass on. A baby is always good news, but this baby was going to be the best king the people had ever had, even kinder and better than King David, and he was the best they'd had so far. This baby Jesus would be special. It'd be like God himself being with the people. The second part of my job is to go and tell people the message word for word. Nothing added, nothing left out. I had to go and tell Mary. But how was she going to react?
When the angel stopped speaking, I had so many questions, and I was afraid. But I just tried to trust God. I said, I am the Lord's servant. May it happen to me as you have said. And I kept on saying it in the weeks and months ahead. I am the Lord's servant. May it be to me as you have said.
Jesus was born in Bethlehem, but so far we've been up in Nazareth, which is where Mary lived, and that's 90 miles from Bethlehem. It was the Romans that made Mary and Joseph travel to Bethlehem at just the time Mary was expecting the baby to be born. The Romans ruled a huge part of the world, and they wanted to count everybody in their empire. They called it a census. You couldn't just be counted anywhere, you had to go to the place where your family came from. Joseph was in the family tree of King David, and King David came from Bethlehem. So Mary and Joseph had to walk the 90 miles to Bethlehem. That's about the same distance as from here to Carlisle, and it would have taken maybe about a week. So let's find out what happened in Bethlehem. And first of all, we're going to meet an innkeeper.
I try to help people when I can, but we were completely full up, so I just had to tell them, sorry, there's no room at this inn. But he looked so sad, and she looked so tired. I'd never seen Bethlehem so busy. The census made people pile in from all over. Everyone who was descended from King David was coming here to be counted, and they all wanted a place to stay. King David now, there was a real king, not like that Herod. David knew right from wrong. David was the best, and all his descendants were coming to Bethlehem. We're not a posh, fancy hotel. We're more your small and cozy kind of place. By 2 o'clock this afternoon, we were full. We've got a family from down south near the Dead Sea. We've got an old couple from Joppa on the coast. And we've got a big family of 7 from Jericho, squeezed in. Like I say, I try to help when I can. It was late on when I heard the sound of a fist pounding on the door. Uh-oh, someone's desperate, I said to my wife. We were rushing around sorting out food for everyone, and I shouted, we're full up, mate. I opened the door and saw the 2 of them standing there. She looked completely exhausted, and I thought I saw a tear in her eyes. Then my wife whispered in my ear, and I saw what my wife had realized straight away. The woman was about to have a baby. I try and help out when I can. I led them round the back to the animal shed. If you don't mind the smell, I said, you can stay here. I've come back into the main bit of the inn to wash up dishes. It's late now, and my wife is still in the animal shed with them. Shh. I think I hear. I'm sure I hear a baby crying.
When the baby was born in the town of Bethlehem, out on the hills there were shepherds who were looking after their sheep, and that's where we're going to go to next.
I was so glad to get out of the town and up to these hills. I'm Bethlehem, born and bred, but I've never seen the town so crowded with people. It might bring more money in for innkeepers, but it doesn't make life any better for the likes of me. Do you know that people look down their noses at shepherds? They think that our job is messy and dirty, and they want nothing to do with us. So I'm happy to be up here with the sheep and well away from people. Now, You've just missed the other shepherds. They've gone off to chase away a wolf. Wolves are a real pest, and they are very dangerous. Did you know that a wolf could gobble up one of our sheep in one big gulp? So I'm here to count the sheep and make sure that they're all here. Now bear with me, I'm just finishing 75, 76, 77, and there's 78 over there. They're all here, safe and well. Now, I can relax a wee bit and enjoy my snack. Now, I wonder what my lovely wife Miriam has got me today. Oh, fantastic! It's cold cheesy potatoes with extra spice. Oh, I'm looking, oh, but wait, what's that? Over there, surely you can see it. I've never seen anything like it. It's so bright and white and shining and
Don't be afraid. I'm here with good news for you, which will bring great joy to all the people. Today, in David's town, your Saviour was born, Christ the Lord. And to prove it to you, you can find a baby wrapped in strips of cloth and lying in a manger. Glory to God in highest heaven, and on earth peace to all with whom he is pleased.
here's the others running back. They must have seen it too. Quick, lads, you heard the angel. We've got to get to Bethlehem as quick as we can. Bethlehem, here we come.
Welcome. Welcome to Bethlehem. I'm Joseph, by the way. It's so good to see you, but I'm afraid you'll have to be very quiet. Mary has just got the baby off to sleep. I'd offer you something to eat, but this isn't my house. If you can call an animal shed a house, but it's all we could find. Bethlehem was jam-packed full for the census, but you probably know that already. Mary has been totally amazing. The journey from Nazareth took us almost a week, but she never complained. She just kept on going, but I could tell she was struggling. It's not easy walking that far with a baby inside you just waiting to be born. I did what I could to help. I carried the bags and cooked the meals, but she was exhausted when we arrived here, and so was I. I knocked on the doors of all the inns, and everywhere the answer was the same. Sorry, we're full up. Don't you know there's a census going on? Then we got to this place. I knocked on the door, but the answer was the same as usual. Sorry, we're full up. Then the innkeeper's wife looked at Mary and smiled, and they took us round the back to their animal shed and even got a fresh bale of straw for Mary to rest on. And then he was born, the baby. Do you know what we called him? We called him Jesus. Actually, I knew that a few months before. Back in Nazareth, I had a dream one night, and in the dream was an angel. And the angel said, "Don't be afraid, Joseph," and told me I'd to call the baby Jesus. It's from our Hebrew language. It's an old name, and it means he will save his people from their sins. And I feel certain that Jesus will turn the world upside down.
Hello again. It's so good to see you all again. My life has been turned upside down since I left Nazareth. I am now a mom, but Jesus is God's son. But what I will always remember, is those shepherds telling me that an angel from God told them to come and see this baby. I know all this is from God, and I know I was right to have trusted Him. And I will never forget those wise men bowing down to worship this little baby. And I still have their gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh.
Oh, ouch. That's better. I don't know which hurts most. Sometimes it's my legs that are sorest from all that sitting on the camel. Sometimes it's the headaches I'm getting from all the travelling in the bright sunlight. But I think it's my eyes that are the worst. They really sting from the days we spent going through these dry, windy deserts with sand blown into my face hour after hour. But it was worth every single mile. I've lived a long time, and going to Bethlehem was the best decision I've ever made. It began with the star. I've studied the stars all my life, but I've never seen anything as bright as that one. Utterly amazing. I was always taught that a really bright star is a sign that a really important event has happened. Maybe a new king has been born. And I started to hope that this star meant that things were going to change for the better. 3 of us headed west to follow the star. I had a job persuading my 2 friends to come with me. Casper's an expert at maps, but he was keen to stay behind to look after his beautiful garden. Melchior is brilliant at studying the planets, but he had managed to get a ticket for the Camel Riders Strictly Come Dancing event, and he was wanting to go to that. But I had such hope that the star would lead us to something fantastic. And after a few days, they decided to come with me. We nearly made one very serious mistake. We got to Jerusalem, a big, important city with a palace and a king. We looked at the star, and it seemed like we'd a bit further to go, but we presumed that we had arrived. So we went in and we saw King Herod and talked with him. But he was cruel and nasty. And I was sure that he wasn't the sort of king that I was looking for. We left quickly and travelled a few more miles. We came to Bethlehem and a small inn there, and the star was shining so brightly right ahead of us. It was shining brighter than ever, and we knew that we found the right place this time. We pushed at the door, and it creaked open. And there was the new king, a tiny baby in his mother's arms. We introduced ourselves to her and to Joseph and told them about the star and our hopes for the world. And they told us their story of angels telling them this baby would be the best king for the whole world. They told us everything about Jesus. Then we fell to our knees and worshipped him. One by one, we got out the things that we had brought for the new king. Gold, because he is a king. Frankincense, used in worship, for he is very holy. And myrrh. We put ointment made with myrrh on the bodies of people who've died. And we were certain that there would be something very special about the way this king would die. Ouch, that leg is sore. But Bethlehem is the best decision I've ever made. I have seen the new king born in Bethlehem. And I hope, I know he will bring joy to the whole world. He's already brought joy to me.
To finish, we're going to Jerusalem, the capital city. And we're going to the temple, which is the most important building in Jerusalem. The temple was where people went to worship God. There was a very old man called Simeon who came to the temple every day to pray. He believed that God had told him he wouldn't die until he'd seen the new king God promised to send. And when he saw Mary and Joseph coming into the temple, and when he held the baby Jesus in his arms, he knew that God's promise was fulfilled. And he was holding in his arms the new king God promised he would send. And Simeon was very thankful.
But because every day I come to the temple to pray, and every day I see young families, children coming with their parents, and so that they can be blessed by God. But today I saw a new couple came, and I felt sure I wanted to go and welcome them to the temple. But as I got closer to them, I felt more and more convinced that this was the child that God had promised. I went to see them, and I asked to have them in my arms if I could take the baby to hold him. It was wonderful. I felt sure then that this was the child. And now I said to God, Lord, you have kept your promise, and you may let your servant go in peace. For with mine own eyes I have seen the one who is our salvation.
Thank you very much for joining us in the Christmas experience this year. And I hope that whatever you're doing this Christmas, you have a safe and a happy time. Happy Christmas.